Welcome in, everybody. How we doing? I am Netavar. I am a little humble brag here, the creator of what you are seeing in front of you today. This has been a very long, 3 or 4 months in the making, to something that we decided to create that was based off of the 24-hour session that happened back in September. And we wanted to continue on doing something like that in the non-toxic community. And this is what we came up with, a monthly D&D session that is based on a charity of the players that are involved in the game. And we are extremely excited to do our first session today and continue this on a monthly basis. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to everybody. I'm going to start off with me. I am Netavar. I stream on Twitch a variety of days during the week, usually between 7 and 10 p.m. in the evenings Eastern. I play games ranging from Destiny to D&D on Saturdays. And if you'd like any information about me, there is a Twitch and Twitter handle that you'll be seeing below me, actually. I think I have them correct, yep. That you'll be seeing below me. And if you want to check me out, feel free to go there. And that is myself. We are going to go over to Nat, which is that way.
Hey everybody, I'm Natural One. It's spelled a little funky, so also check it out. It's, I guess, to my lower left. I guess that way. I don't know. My pointing's probably wrong.
Below Ned.
Regardless, you can find me around on the social mediaverse. I don't stream by myself as much as I would like to, so that's something I might try and do more of in the future. But I played a lot of D&D, and it's a lot of fun. And that's probably it for right now. Does that work?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Cool. Awesome.
Go ahead, Mix.
I am Mix Kit. You can see probably on the screen there, Mix_Kit at Twitter. I don't really stream myself. I'm hoping to get into that. I'm wanting to start playing different games on my YouTube as well. So I'm not really anywhere else at the moment, but that just lets me concentrate on Dungeons and Dragons. So.
And I think we move on to our lovely dungeon master, the Bardic Knock.
Yes, that would be me, the Bardic Knock. On that same lovely slideshow, you will see a bunch of things with my name attached to them. Patreon for the very, very generous people who want to fund me in all of my nonsense, which is mainly creating D&D related content, whether that be in the form of campaign settings or whatever bits and pieces I think up. So if you're very kind, consider doing that. I also, you can find me on Twitter, @TheBardicKnock. There's a YouTube channel, but there's not enough subscribers for a special thing yet, so just search for Bardic Knock, it's there, do it. What I'm currently working on is a retrospective of every single Final Fantasy game. So there's that, and you can catch those live on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm currently on Final Fantasy II and not very good at it. Other things I do on the internet include streaming a lot of D&D for another lovely channel called Welcome to the Party. You can find me there on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Eastern, streaming a D&D 3.5 homebrewed game. You can find me there every second and fourth Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where I am streaming a Pokemon tabletop adventure game where my players destroy everything I work so hard to make. I don't want to go off on too far of a tangent, so I'll just give 2 very quick examples. The first gym they came across, instead of figuring out the riddle, they phased through the wall. And the second gym, instead of going through the elaborate maze, they dug underneath it and broke the building in half.
And
So if you want to watch me cry a lot, go check that out. Other than that, that's everything to do with me, personally. A brief description about what we are going to be doing tonight. We're going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. This is my first time DMing 5th edition. Despite doing this nonsense for 10 years, I'm curmudgeonly and I never wanted to learn a new system and didn't have the money to do so. But I am now. So excuse me for rules I make up. We'll all be fine. What we are playing in is we are playing in a homebrewed world of my creation. It's Caribbean, or for the Americans, the Caribbean esque setting. So lots of pirates, rum, great battleships, firearms, wenches, and all kinds of good, fun, piratey fighting goodness and nonsense. But before I jump in and let my players talk about their characters and we can all let our imaginary voices come to fruition, Ned, do you want to tell us about the charity?
Yeah, I know, I'm working on things. Apparently it didn't want to take my money earlier. The charity that we were going to be representing today is the Trevor Project. It is an LGBTQ plus charity. It's actually one of the more major known charities for the LGBT community. It was originally going to be Extra Life today, but I decided to change the charities that I'm going to be running for next year. I'll no longer be doing that one. I'll be switching over to the Trevor Project for the next year. If you want to find out more about them, feel free to go to the donation page, which you will see in the scroll box down below eventually. There should be a link in there, and I think I can get a link in the chat eventually as well, for you guys to know more about the Trevor Project and what they do for the community around you. On top of that, we have two things that we need to work on right now. If you guys see alerts, or if you guys donate or do any bits or anything like that, we are working on getting those corrected. The color scheme is off with a black background, so we're working on that. And two, it looks like my Zoom group chat thing needs me to upgrade to Pro, even though I did it earlier. So if you guys see your cams messing up on the stream, please do bear with me. I'm trying to fix that as we play as well. But other than that, Bard, feel free to go ahead and take control while I work on those things.
Alrighty. So, unfortunately, we can't make it out fantastically on the stream, but where our players are is on the large central island of this region, known as Kabula Island. And through various means, they've all talked about and discussed about why they have come to this thriving port city called Highcliffe Port. To paint a word picture for you, imagine something similar to like the White Cliffs of Dover, or just large cliffside, except it is covered in wooden and metallic walkways, and dug into the cliffside are hundreds upon possibly even thousands of shops and taverns and homes and businesses. This entire settlement is built inside, like into the actual cliffside. And down at the bottom is an elaborately large port filled with all kinds of vessels. Large, metallic, like freighters, like large shipping transports, classical, Middle Ages, wooden, pirate ship type things. Well, nothing flies a pirate flag here. There's quite a few of these ships which seem to fly a white sail with a large Navy insignia on it. This is a Navy port. It is Navy friendly, therefore pirates are not allowed and usually attacked and destroyed on sight. There's all kinds of hustle and bustle going on, but where the largest amount of activity going on is, and specifically where our three delightful characters will probably find themselves, is down on the waterfront. There is one it's not a large ship. It's an average, verging on small, designed for quick transport, not for shipping goods or moving large groups of people. It's more like a luxury traveling merchant ship. It too flies the Marine flag, Navy flag, sorry. And through various means, this is the ship in which all of our characters are aiming to find themselves on board. Whether through legitimate means, having purchased a ticket or having the correct paperwork and permits to travel around some of the various islands for mercantile reasons, or maybe they've gotten on there by offering their services as a sellsword or a ship hand, or maybe they're going to just sneak on board. We're going to leave that up to them. So, who would like to start us off? Who would like to be the first one to describe how they intend to get towards the ship? Tell us a little bit about their character, why they're there.
I'll go ahead and go first then.
Alrighty.
So Nordal is a blood hunter. He simply desires to make up for his poor decisions and the dark history that has plagued him. And so he has gone off to seek something better for himself, something to be a little stronger, and to become a powerful blood hunter, the strongest blood hunter in the world. But due to this dark past, he doesn't like to break the law. He likes to live right on that edge, but never cross it too far to where he's attacked on sight because he's a pirate. However, Nordal is going to gladly offer his services to the ship hand to secure free passage on the ship, and will do anything the ship hand needs, protect him, wash the deck, anything of that nature, to ensure that he can secure that free passage on the ship. It's one of the many traits that Nordal can do is gain passage on any ship simply by offering himself up as service to the ship hand.
Okay. This is entirely your choice. Would you like to role play out the scene in which you interact with the ship hand, or you just like, this is how I got on the ship and that's where we'll begin the role play when we get all of us together?
I'll go ahead and role play when we're all together.
Yep, that's absolutely fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is... Oh, do you want to give a physical description of Nortal so our lovely viewers can envision him in their mind?
So you actually kind of see a picture at the bottom of the screen there of what Nordal looks like, but he's this he's a bit of an older turtle. He had a family once, but they have perished in his past, and he is currently all alone. And that's what made him seek out this power. He's this kind of a short for a turtle. Kind of looks like he's hunched over this grizzly old man that looks like he's angry with the world. He's got an eye patch over his, I think it's his left eye, simply because of what happened in his past, which you may or may not find out later. And he carries around this big old great axe that's he's a very intimidating turtle, and his aura gives off this energy of a lightning feeling. It's very electric.
There's a spark in the air whenever he's present.
Something like that, yes. But he's this very intimidating creature, but he's not so full of himself that he'll swallow his pride and do what he has to get what he needs.
Yeah. All right. Wonderful. Okay. So Natch or Kit, anyone have preference to who goes next to describe themselves and how they intend to get onto this boat?
I can go next if you want me to.
Please do.
All right. I'm Kirk Tanner. I'm a tiefling wizard. I've got some like purplish, pinkish skin, and I've got like this little snake that rides around me. His name's Sebastian. And one point a note: if you look on the overlay, my stats are not quite correct. We'll get it fixed for next time.
Oh no, what did I mess up?
I don't have that higher strength. That's a big part of it. But as most, I mean, if you don't get in trouble at the academy for looking up some dark magic, you're really even a wizard. So you got kicked out of the academy, as you do, and decided to go south looking for some more open-minded individuals, because the people at the academy, their minds were just a little bit too closed on what real magic should look like. So that's why he's here to begin with. He's probably in his late 20s, but he's got one eye that's orange and one eye that's kind of lilac with little flecks of orange in it. He's got black hair with a beard, and half his beard, the side with the purple eye, has streaks of white in it. Probably from some sort of magical accident. So, trying to get on the boat, he would probably be also trying to convince the ship hand that they need him to need his magical services. Otherwise, the ship's going to go down. I mean, you need a ship mage.
That sounds reasonable enough to me.
Travel without one.
Once again, I'll offer you the same thing I offered Ned. Would you like to actually roleplay out that scene, or you have to say, I do this, and we'll roleplay when everybody is on the ship together?
I'm happy to roleplay once everyone gets here.
All right, wonderful. So you've said, yep, you need a wizard. Let me on. The guy goes, well, you're not wrong. Is there anything else you would like to say about?
Let's see. Is this? Sorry, I gotta look at. All right. In addition to having kind of Sebastian wrapped around my arm, I do have an unseen servant just kind of carrying my stuff behind me.
So the less magically inclined, they just see you, and then just this floating box behind you.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. And that brings us to our final member, Kit. Kit, do you want to describe your lovely voice in your head that is going to become manifest? And
yes, circling back around to the reptile people, we have Hydra, who is a Naga. They've actually been in Highcliff for quite a while, mostly apprenticing to a local merchant. And recently they've decided they want to branch out on their own, go around, potentially find some impressive wares themselves in order to come and sell. And so they actually have all the proper paperwork. They aren't offering any of their services to the ship. They're just getting on board as a official and licensed merchant who is traveling. Hydra is a black and yellow Naga, black scales down the back and yellow scales on what would be the underbelly if they were actually down, which they never is. They're not particularly tall, in that they're about 5 feet high off of the ground head height, but they are about 12 feet long, so there is that. look like a very, very large sea snake, actually, except with the slight hood that all Nagas tend to have. And they just have what uh, what merchanting supplies they're going to need with them, and they're bringing their pack mule on board the ship with them, and they've got all that set and all the proper things in order for that.
Alrighty. Just for confirmation, I mean, I know it's described to anybody out there who is watching. Snake person, no legs, yes? Snake body, little
Snake
human
body.
arms.
Yes.
There we go, just to confirm, because obviously you say snake person, people go, so what, like a person with scales, like a full snake? Like, it's the whole thing. Yeah. No legs.
No legs.
And one other thing, just for definite confirmation, so I don't goof up on pronouns. You were using they, them a lot just then. Are those the preferred pronouns of Hydra?
Yes, I can go ahead and actually, I believe, update my character sheet, so that's if I can type.
Yep. No, just double checking. I was like 90% certain you mentioned that before, just double checking. And hey, it's a chance for me to go, hey, look at me. I'm with it, kids. Obviously, Ned, Nat, I assume both of your preferred pronouns are he, him, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there we go. Just equality for all. Everybody gets checked. It's all good, because that's how we learn. Alrighty. So with that, you are all on the ship. And the proposed course of this traveling boat, this boat, the High Wind, is chartered to do several short trips. Its first port of call is heading over to the small island, which is about a day's journey away. Maybe, let me check. Yeah, 2 days journey away, because each square on the grid is a day's journey. And that is a small island of Tupa. It's just a small little island, very tourist heavy. Not too much special about it. And then on the next leg of its journey, which is a 3-day journey, we're heading further south to a very rustic area called Lobo Island. And then it intends to do a circle around this other island here called Mawa, which has several ports over the side. There's one at the south, one at the northeast. There's various bits going on there. There's like a nice jungle. It once again, it's very tourist, very. It's very much a traveling economy, so very marketplace. It's a perfect place for someone like Hydra to go and visit. And then it intends to return to Highcliffe. This journey, none of you expect it should really take more than 1 or 2 weeks out of your lives, quite frankly. And with that, when you're all set up, you can all put your things down below. There's shared quarters, because it's not a very large boat. There's maybe 15 people on board, and they kind of squeeze a few people into a room, because you're only in there for maybe 2-3 days at a time. You'll be fine. And with that, some signals are flared, some flags are waved, and the High Wind sets off. So now I will transfer us over to a different map. And I need to change how loud that music is.
I guess it's a good time I unmute that tab. There we go.
There we go. So, as you should be able to see on this new map, I've put you all on the deck of the ship. If you would like to go and say you would be under in the hold, that's absolutely fine. I can move you over there. Does anyone have any preference as to where they would be during this first day's journey?
Due to Nortal's size, he's not really going to squeeze into a room. When he decides to sleep, he's just gonna, suck into his shell and find a very secure spot on top of the deck somewhere, probably in a corner of the back of the ship, probably like right here, somewhere where he can, tie a rope to himself so he doesn't slide with the ship. And that's where he's probably gonna be. So somewhere in the back of the ship here, I'll move myself back here for the day's trip.
Okay. Kirk, where would you like to be? Just up and about on the deck, enjoying the nice sea breeze going through your hair, or would you like to be down in a room?
Kirk's probably gonna be up on deck, checking out the sea. This is still pretty new to him, so he's enjoying the sights.
Okay. And Hydra, where would you like to be?
Probably up on the deck. It's a little less new to them. They've done a few little trips out to very close islands before, but they're still enjoying the breeze and the sights. It's quite nice out.
Okay. Well, let me give you a lovely little word picture about what you see. There's fresh, open, beautiful sea spray coming up from the side of the boat. The water is this deep turquoise, blue, green. It's beautifully tropical. It's serene almost. Up in the sky, you see several birds, some which seem small, like a seagull or an albatross. But then, off in the distance, you can make out the occasional, much larger bird. Something similar to perhaps even a rock, or something outrageous, like a huge flying creature, because this is a beautiful magical world where beautiful magical things exist. Like all of my players. Yeah. I figure if I say enough nice things, they won't mind when I kill them later.
Oh, I warn you, Normal is tough to kill.
If you are looking around on the actual boat, you will see there are 3 other average Joe-looking ship hands. There's a fellow standing at the ship's wheel. He looks like he thinks of himself to be somewhat important, wearing a white navy jacket hung off his shoulders. He doesn't have his arms in the sleeves. It hangs off his shoulders and it's tied, attached on a clasp around his neck, and that billows in the wind behind him. He's got not like long flowing hair, like hair that's long enough that it can be tied up in a ponytail, and that's flapping behind him. And he's kind of standing stoically proud, chest out, like, I'm good. This is a good job I'm doing. Look at my ship. It's good. There are a few other people here and there on the boat. One thing you definitely notice, there are no families, no small children, nothing like that. Everyone on here, they appear to be adults. They appear as if they are all on this boat for purpose. No one is here for recreation as such, and no one's going, ooh, we're going on a jolly Caribbean cruise. No, it's merchants, it's traders, it's all kinds of things like that. Most of them look rather generic and forgettable.
Can we assume that some of them are probably of the not so good type of people?
You could probably make that assumption if you were to just take pure probability into account. You go, okay, not everybody's good, but no one is stood there looking like, I'm an obvious pirate. Look, I've got a hook hand and a peg leg and I. Although I do lie, there is one person who seems to have gone out of his way to look like a pirate. He stands there in a bright red naval jacket with a blue cape attached to his back. On his head, a bright red tri-corner hat. His hair, about my length, give or take. Jet black, perfectly trimmed goatee, as he stands as close to the... What's the word? The front bow? Is that the front of the ship?
I think so.
Yeah, as close to the front of the ship as he can. One leg propped up on it, doing this epic pose, one hand on his hip, and he points outwards and going, "Yes! Adventure!" And stood next to him is a rather surly-looking man, slightly older, pushing mid-30s, hair graying just at the sides, scruff beard. He appears to be wearing somewhat heavy armor, but he is wearing what appears to be a minister. Minister? That's not a word. Kind of like a preacher's white robe over the top of them. Attached to his back is a large-looking shield, which has a symbol of... well, if anybody wanted to discern it, they'd have to roll a knowledge religion as to what it actually is. But he also appears to have a very large, heavy mace. And he kind of stands there, and he appears to be associated with this person, but he doesn't appear happy about it.
The fellow that looks like a pirate going out of his way, when he said adventure ahead, was that out loud?
Oh, yeah.
And was it kind of like a yell?
Incredible. Like, this is the most obnoxious voice you can possibly imagine. In fact, everything he says is in this deep, rich timbre and baritone. Everything is impressive and important, and everything is enunciated.
Nordal is gonna snap out of his snooze in sort of an annoyance, and make his way to the disruption that has occurred, and has disrupted his afternoon nap. Correction, what time of day is it?
This is afternoon.
Okay, yes.
Everything was boarding for about midday. By the time everything's ready, you've set off. And this is, 1 or 2 hours into the journey. So it's early to mid-afternoon, like, 2, 3.
Yeah, you've disturbed his afternoon nap, and he's quite grouchy if you wake him up. So he's gonna come over here and to the fella he does so believe woke him up, and what's with all the screaming?
Well, adventure. It deserves to be announced out to the world. Whenever you set voyage upon these high seas, you not only challenge the very forces of nature and gods themselves, but you invite them, and you spit in their faces as you go, "I will conquer you."
When can I interrupt for a second? And when he says that, can Kirk cast thaumaturgy and make the sound of crashing thunder over the boat?
Please do.
And I'll give a smirk to Hydra.
Do you have an intent behind that? Are you trying to scare this person? Are you just trying to make him sound more impressive? What are you intending to do with that?
If anything, just to see kind of how he reacts, because Kirk's pretty sure he's a pretty absurd individual, so it could either scare his pants off or empower him. Either way, Kirk's going to be entertained.
Okay, well, I rolled a
Yes.
2. So when he does that, he's going, "And you spit in there." Oh my God, sorry. I mean, yeah.
Nordal just looks at him and scoffs just ever so slightly. "We're going around an island. There's not much of an adventure. You see the island. I am napping."
Oh my poor, unexperienced friend. Are your eyes so closed that you cannot see the opportunity for adventure everywhere? Anything could happen. When you wake up in the morning and you step outside, you don't go, "Oh, all I'm doing today is I'm going to buy some bread and milk and cheese." For all you know, a meteor could fall from the sky. Every moment is a moment for adventure, and you should seek it out.
I shall seek it out after my nap.
However, that thunder does quite intrigue me. That means there is lightning about. And I do so love some lightning.
So, shock it.
And
You see his friend physically cringe, pinch the bridge of his nose, and go, "Hi."
And Nordal heads to the side of the boat to investigate the sound of thunder and where it may have came from.
Okay. Over on the other side of the boat, I'm assuming there is a snickering tiefling and snake person.
That's accurate on my end.
The two of you, you're snickering. You made a funny. This rather large-looking tortoise man, appears to be crossing the boat over towards you. How do you react to that?
Probably, Kirk would probably start whistling like he's acting normal, and like he had nothing to do with it.
Do either of you say anything to this turtle crossing over towards you, or are you just going, nope?
I wouldn't necessarily be saying anything.
Okay. In that case, Nortal, are you, when you cross over, are you addressing anybody? Are you?
I'm gonna roll a perception.
Ooh, please do.
I have a passive perception of 15, so before I roll, can I'm assuming I noticed that he's snickering in some kind of way.
Yeah, unless Kirk is attempting to hide it, which I'm not sure if that would count as a stealth or deception or sleight of hand. Whichever one you can justify using more, really, to try and hide composing yourself.
It's all the same for me mechanically, but I think deception probably fits the best.
Yeah,
well,
go for it.
So,
I have rolled a 13.
And I also rolled a 13.
Well, beats.
Yeah.
So I notice a snickering tiefling over in the corner, and I look at him. I don't know if he's looking at me or not, and I simply go,
Was that you that created that glorious sound?
Yeah. I
Did
guess.
Did you see what it did to his britches?
Absolutely. That was the intent.
and he raises a claw in acceptance, more of like a high five.
Kirk will give him a high five back.
And Turtle just goes off and peers off into the distance with a slight crack of a smile from someone who tends to have a very straight face. Very intrigued by that crash of thunder.
I like our shipmates.
I think it's going to be an interesting 2 weeks. Quick, can I do a religion check on that guy's shield?
Oh, please do.
Is there any other rolls?
Boy. Well, I got an 11.
What are the other rolls you stated for his? I think you said insight and...
I only mentioned religion for trying to figure out, but if you can justify, history, insight, if you can justify a roll, I will always accept it.
Okay. I'll hold then, just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, 11. It's a little bit puzzling. It seems as if this would, because the sigil itself, it appears to be a cross similar to a crucifix, but enveloped in a circle with like a secondary cross, like a diagonal cross coming out from beneath the primary crucifix.
Okay.
It looks very religious. You go, hey, that's a religious symbol.
Mm-hmm.
But it is certainly not one that is particularly well documented.
Nortel is gonna walk up to the gentleman and ask him very kindly,
Excuse me, sir. Can I get a good look at that shield of yours?
This slightly older man, he turns and looks at you and goes, "Oh, are you? Is that just what you do? You'll walk up to people and go, oh, can I have a look just at your things? Do you not find that a wee bit rude?"
Not at all. When I
Oh.
see interesting things, I like to look at interesting things.
Well, fine. If you want to have a wee gander, I've got nothing to hide. And he'll slip it off his shoulder and he'll present it to you to have a look at, but he has a very firm grip on it.
okay. He Nortel kind of reaches out and, without using his actual claws to make sure he doesn't damage the shield, he just kind of brushes his hand on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll an insight to make sure that I ask the right question, to get the insight that I need from this guy. And
All
I'm gonna put that away.
Nat 1.
I just rolled a nat 1, so I'm gonna be like,
Is this shield color blue?
He looks at you and goes, well, I see that you're wearing an eye patch. Have you lost color in it as well?
I do not believe so.
No, it's silver. It's quite obviously silver. No,
I
look at it. And he like pushes it right up against your face.
just had to make sure you weren't gonna try to lie to me.
and he just kind of moseys on off.
He turns to his friend and he goes, well, I don't think you'll have to be worrying about being the most strange person on their ship, buddy. What do you mean? And they have a little back and forth. The loud, obnoxious-looking fella, he kind of like, he does a pose and kind of like starts talking about things, and you see the Irish-looking fella just kind of go, oh, I wish I could speak to you now. Is there anything that you guys would like to be doing for the next... I said it was about 3-ish. Say for the next 4 to 5 hours on boat. Because it's pretty much simple sailing until nightfall comes around, which will be in about 4 to 5 hours.
Kirk would probably be pretty entertained for the next 3 or 4 hours just by screwing with the guy.
Just falling
various
around
ways.
and go, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. You can get on with that. I mean, eventually, he'd probably... Eventually, he would just turn around and be like, excuse me, you seem to be always nearby. Can I help you with anything, friend?
Of course I'm nearby. Have you seen how big this ship is? We've not exactly got anywhere to go.
That's true.
Do you like snakes?
I don't not like snakes.
This is Sebastian. Say hello to Sebastian. And I'm gonna like reach Sebastian towards him.
Are you like going like presenting it to his face, or just like...
Yeah, like getting in his grill a little bit with it.
He kind of leans back, like he doesn't take a step back, but he very physically leans back and like starts bending his back slightly. And goes, yes, hello, how do you do, Sebastian? What nice fangs.
Yeah, they are pretty nice, aren't they? And I kind of take Sebastian's head and get it right in my face and kind of move his lip a little bit so I can see his fang.
Out of the corner of his eye, Norol notices a tiny, very slithery creature, and Well, his stomach has been grumbly for the last couple of hours, and being a turtle with some snappers on him, he
Over here.
kind of slides up. I'm gonna roll a stealth to see if he sneaks up on Kirk here. That is a 8.
Oh wow.
What's your passive perception, Kirk?
It's 9.
Surprisingly, you notice the large tortoise walking towards you.
I'm not moving extremely slowly. He's just kind of a normal walk. Just kind of slips up next to you, and you notice Nordal just kind of lick his snappers a little bit, and just kind of move his head a little towards the snake's rear end. And he
Can I help you, mate?
Oh,
He continues to move a little closer.
I'm quite hungry. And, he moves a little closer.
Well, I gotta say, it's not gonna be very filling, considering it's not a real snake.
He kind of puts himself back a little bit.
You know what familiars are, mate?
But does it taste like a snake?
Absolutely not. Tastes like shit.
How would you know?
I mean,
Roll that deception. I'll take your... Roll your deception.
listen, there's a reason I'm not in the academy anymore.
Hey, it was a dare.
Listen, it's a rite of initiation. Everyone's got to lick their familiar.
Roll your deception.
I don't think that's deception. I think he's actually licked his familiar. So his persuasion is 19.
And I guess against your persuasion. What do I roll against the persuasion?
Usually it's insight, isn't it?
Which would have been an 18. So
You can tell that he's not lying. He has definitely tasted his familiar before.
Well, if you get to taste, why can't I?
Because it doesn't right belong to you.
But you could just summon them back after I eat it.
Well, if you know that about familiars, you know that it's not going to fill you up very well.
But it'll do just enough.
Mate, I'm going to need you to back up.
Hydra, out of curiosity, how do you feel about this discussion about snake eating?
Not the most comfortable initially, but once it turned on to familiar eating, it became very funny.
As you're obviously having this discussion about food, the obnoxious, piratey-looking fellow, who's still... He's still a little bit pulled back by the snake. He's a little more, oh, okay, it's a familiar. It can't, like, poison me or anything. Cool. Well, I believe downstairs they've got some kind of, whatever you call it, kitchen mess. I think there's someone who's brewing up some kind of food. You're hungry, you could probably go there.
Right, well, I guess we should make our way down. With any luck, it'll be turtle stew. And Kirk will kind of turn around and start walking downstairs.
You just hear him grumbling, you woke me up from my nap. I've got no snack.
And he just kind of turns off and heads towards these stairs in this cramped little area, which he hates to be.
I haven't been in cramped spaces like this since I was a wee little turtle in the egg.
I can't imagine that shell's very spacious, mate.
But it's quite comfortable, and that's all that matters.
You will notice I've just pinged you over. Downstairs, it's not very impressive. There doesn't appear to be any cannons or weaponry or any such thing on the ship, downstairs at least. There are these 3 obvious separated out rooms. 2 of them are set up as sleeping quarters designed for people to come and sleep in shifts whenever they so choose. And the 3rd room at the end, you can get a definite whiff of, let's call it food.
Can I roll a nature to find out exactly what it smells like?
Yeah, please go right ahead.
Rolled a 10.
Okay. You can kind of smell some things like onions and a few various herbs. You're getting a hint of seaweed kind of coming through the air, and there's the vaguest hint of like a poultry.
Nordal just simply steps around the snake, just kind of licking his lips at the snake, and then goes off to the smell of seaweed, which would be located where?
It's in this third room where...
Okay.
There.
And Nordal just kind of slouches his shoulders and just kind of like that when you smell something you really like and you start floating towards it. He's just kind of gliding across the floor to the seaweed smell.
Okay. Kurt, Hydra, how are you feeling about this? You've just got this generic food smell. You can't, unless you also want to roll nature and try and figure out what it is that's cooking. But it's like, it's food.
Well, may as well check it out.
Okay, as you head down to this third room, first thing you notice, it is pitifully small. There is basically a single bubbling cauldron. It doesn't appear to have a fire underneath. It appears to be heated in some other way, shape, or form. There isn't an actual like back to this room. There's just like one or two missing wooden slats, and that leads out to a small balcony, and on that you can see that there's a rowboat prep. This is obviously some kind of emergency exit or something. Behind the pot is this rather... The only apt description I can give for this man is terrifying. He appears to be balding on the top of his head, but he still maintains a rather thick, wild rim around the side of white hair that is kind of sticking out in multiple directions. One eye appears to be closed. There's a corn cob pipe sticking out of his mouth. He's shirtless, and he's small and skinny and bony and sinewy. It's not a very pleasant sight. In fact, you can see like bits of dirt on his chest and rather sporadic, wiry grey hair. He stands bow-legged, his feet turned out, and he's kind of going as he's brewing up this pot.
Nordal's gonna slip past him to the balcony. How close is this balcony to the water?
It's about a between 5 and 10 feet drop. If you wanted to dive into the water from here, you could. Climbing out would be a little bit harder.
It's kind of what I've assumed.
Well, climbing back in, sorry, would be harder from the water.
Let's see, what do I have that's available? Continue, guys, without me. I'll take a look at what I got here.
Yeah. As you walk past, he just kind of goes, "Hey, what you doing in Papa's room? The show's not done." He's glaring at you with one eye boggling, nearly sticking out of his head. He doesn't stop you because you're like 4 times his size. But he's just
He does things like that, apparently.
Yeah, Nordal just completely ignores him and just kind of stares at the water with a glistening in his eyes.
You look like you've seen some stuff, mate.
Are you talking to Nortal or the guy brewing the stew?
The guy brewing the soup.
Papa done seen everything.
Right.
Myself.
So what are you making there?
Want to guess?
No.
Nordal just turns around.
Seaweed.
Yeah, seaweed's in it. Look. He scoops up this rather ratty-looking wooden spoon. This looks like it is the only spoon this man has ever used in his entire life. And there's a thick blob of seaweed hanging off it.
Nordal just comes up right next to him, grabs the spoon with his claw, and chomps on it.
Like, just full-on biting the spoon.
Yeah, the spoon, if it's wooden, is definitely snapped.
If you break his spoon, he drops to his knees and starts shrieking of, "My spoon!"
Oh, for the love of... Please stop. And Kirk's gonna come over and pick up the pieces and cast mending on it.
He just spits
Look,
out the end of the spoon that doesn't
fine.
taste good.
As you hand it back to him, he looks at you and goes, You done fixed my magic spoon. Well, I say it's magic. Magic, because I believe in it. Here. He reaches into the front of his trousers. He doesn't have pockets. It's kind of disgusting.
Oh, God.
And he pulls out a small vial. The vial, surprisingly, is pristine. It appears to be crystalline in nature, and on the top of this vial, the cork of this appears to be a fox's head carved out of crystal. Thank you for fixing my spoon.
I'm afraid to even ask what that is.
Or where it came from.
Well, it comes from my special pocket.
What's your name?
Everybody calls me Pappy.
Well, Pappy, can you tell me what that is before I decide whether I want to risk touching it?
We're playing a game of speaker, talker, teller, doodle doot. You got something for me to guess?
What?
You ain't never played speaker, talker, diddly doops. You hand each other weird things and you guess what it is.
Alright, so do I have to, like, touch it to guess what it is?
You can look at it, you can sniff it, you can lick it.
Not gonna do at least two of those things. Alright. Let me touch it. Let me take it.
He'll hand you this vial. It appears, yay big, easily concealable in the palm of your hand. You look inside, there's this rather viscous-looking fluid.
Can I do some sort of knowledge check to try and see if I know what it is?
You most certainly could. Obvious one would be to go to Arcane, because this looks like a potion.
Okay. Oh, goody. That's a 21.
Yeah, you look at this and you immediately know. This is a potion of Fox's Cunning. Basically, what that is it's the specific version of enhanceability for intelligence.
Alright, well, I'll just drop that right in my little pocket here. Thanks very much, Pappy.
Oh, anytime. Well, not anytime. It'd have to
Yeah,
be on the boat. I don't leave the boat never. He then
That explains so much.
he gestures to his leg, which he actually lifts up, and you notice there is an obvious-looking shackle on this leg.
Oh my, what'd you do to earn that?
Oh, that's what I was about to go to. The shackle, however, is not attached to anything else. But he himself believes he is shackled to this boat.
The real shackle is our imagination.
I thought the real shackles was the cruel capitalist societies.
Yeah,
Wait, no.
that too. I mean, there's more than one shackle. I mean, if we're gonna get technical.
Pigeons is also shackles.
I can't
want some
argue with
stew?
that. No, I'm good. I think I've got some rations in my bag somewhere. Where's my box? I'm gonna kind of wander back out of the room.
You go, I am leaving this scary, crazy man alone. Hydra, Norsal, Pappy offers you guys stew if you want it.
He offered what? I'm sorry?
He offers you stew. He pulls out some bowls, these little wooden things he keeps somewhere. In fact, you know what? There's a shelf. They aren't in his secret pocket. There's a shelf. He'll get bowls. And he goes, "You can have some stew. You can try and guess the secret ingredient."
Nordal just kind of goes up to the big old pot looking thing, and he looks at Pappy and he goes,
I don't need no bowl.
and shoves his meaty old snapper into the pot.
Ooh. Okay, you need to make a save, and I'm trying to justify what save would be appropriate for putting your hand into boiling hot water.
I would say probably Constitution.
Yeah? You're saying con, that is justifiable in my mind?
An 11.
Yeah. You put your hand in, and you're going to take 2 damage from that.
Oof.
As it is boiling hot. I mean, you can tank it, and you can pull... you put your mouth in, sorry, not your hand. You, gone face first into it, did you say?
Yeah, I went snapper first into it.
Yeah, that's fine. So you can do that. Your face kind of burns, and it gets this searing hot sensation, but you can take a big mouthful. When you pull your face out, your snapper is this beautiful pinky color from where it is being scalded, essentially.
Oh.
But it's a good stew.
Tortle,
Real good stew.
Nordal, he initially doesn't quite feel that boil because his stomach has been grumbling. But once he gets a good mouthful of it, his snapper starts to feel a little bit of that heat, and oh, this is gonna be really bad. He runs off on the deck and jumps in the water.
Yeah. Okay, so you go sploosh.
Yeah, he goes sploosh in the water.
Okay, let me just reveal some of that for you, because I wasn't expecting anyone to leap out into the water.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're a turtle with low charisma.
Hydra, are you wanting any stew, but from a bowl? Or are you just going, what are these people?
Well, Nordal did stick his entire face into the stew, and he's kind of trying to figure out if they still wants it after that. But they does ask Pappy if there is anything that he would like them to get him when they make landfall.
Pappy kind of recoils back a little bit and raises an eyebrow. His eyebrows are these thick, like caterpillar-esque things. He goes, "Nobody done offer to do nice things for Pappy. You're like some beautiful angel. You're the kindest person I ever done did meet. Can I get like actual cooking supplies instead of using whatever I fish up out of the waters?"
That would probably be good.
Yeah. Can I give you anything? I don't got money, but I got lots of other things in my special pocket.
Well, why don't we see what I can find you first, and then we can negotiate.
Okay. Well, he reaches in to the front of his trousers again and starts rummaging his hand around. if anything, it just raises more questions, because the amount he moves his arm is not feasible for, like, just something like, it's like, there is something more spacious in the front of his trousers that just, it boggles the mind. And he pulls out a small vial again. This time, the crystalline stopper is marked with an eagle with spread wings. I can give you this as a preliminary payment for your other words beginning with P, but Papa's brain just darn it fried.
Thank you very much. They will take it. The stopper seems fine. The vial seems fine, so they're just going to put it into a little pocket they have on their vest.
Yep. He'll also get a bowl and he'll present as if he wants to pour you a bowl of stew if you want that.
Yeah, they've decided they'll go ahead and take the bowl of stew.
Yep. He pours a bowl. It's this. The coloration of it isn't particularly appealing at first. A lot of the green from the seaweed seems to have seeped into the fluid around the stew itself, like the gravy. So it's got like a slight greenish tinge. But you look at it and you go, okay, I can make out some onions and some other vegetables, and I can see some small bits of meat. Like, it smells absolutely fine. It's just not the perfect, like, visual thing. You can go ahead and have yourself some nice stew.
While you guys are enjoying the stew, you just kind of see Nordal on the outside of the ship if you happen to glance out. And he's just swimming along with the ship, and every time a curious little fish comes by, he goes, snap.
You're going the sushi route. You're going raw fish.
Yeah. And to get himself back on the ship, he's got a little bit of hemp rope in tow, and he's just gonna kind of toss it up with the words,
Hey, can someone grab onto this?
Okay.
Hydra will, and
Yeah. What kind of role do we think would be best for throwing rope?
Strength.
Mm-hmm.
So athletics.
Yeah. Athletics is perfect. Yeah.
18.
Yeah. You can lasso it. You can throw it up, and Hydra, this is a perfect height. You can catch it. You can pull it tight and taut, and Northel, you can just climb yourself up.
He moseys on up and grabs onto the deck and just kind of plops in his shell and lays there. Kind of like a turtle on his back, just kind of swaying back and forth.
Yeah. The amount of salt water you bring in is quite substantial just because you're a large fellow. And Pappy's feet get soaked and kind of looks and goes, if I give you something out of Pappy's special pocket, will you leave Pappy's room alone? You're done ruining it!
Nordal just kind of looks at him upside down since he's on his back, and he's like,
You'll give me something to leave? Deal.
Okay, now I got a question for you. Does you like bears or bulls? Personally, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, but I hear the Bears, they're doing pretty good. Sports team references.
I do quite prefer the Bengals.
Who's?
The Bengals, they be a tiger.
I don't got no tiger powers.
I suppose
cat. I
the
got a kitty cat.
I suppose the bear will work a little bit closer to these claws I got.
Yeah, rummages around and pulls out a vial with a bear's head as the stopper.
he just kind of tilts on his back side to side until he can flip over, and he just kind of gets up and walks over to the gentleman, quickly grabs it out of his hand, slips one of his arms into his shell, and comes back out, and it's gone. And then just kind of moseys on out of the room since he made a deal.
Love it. Okay. It's maybe pushing to sunset-ish time. It's starting to go dark. Are there any other things you guys would like to do and mess around with whilst on this boat still? If not, we can jump forward a little bit more in time to your first night's rest and how people are going to sleep, or if they're going to pull night shifts on watch duty and this, that, and the other.
Hydra is absolutely going to find the bombastic man that they met earlier and suggest that he should definitely go and meet the chef if he hasn't already. They doesn't know how that is going to go, but they are both such personalities that Hydra has figured that whatever it is going to be interesting.
Please tell me you don't want to stand there and watch this scene where I need to switch voices and go, "Oh yes, wonderful!" No.
No, they just wants to know that it's happening somewhere.
Yeah, you can do that. This loud, obnoxious man will wander down, and you hear these voices. And he goes, "Oh, hello, you're the chef. Yes, I'm Peppy. Who are you? Oh, I'm a bit. Oh, what's in the?" It's just screeching loud sound.
This was a good investment of time.
Nordal is gonna make his way up to the top deck because well, he was told to leave after making a deal.
Same.
So Nordal makes his way up to the top deck, and well, he doesn't really sleep in the evenings. He doesn't quite trust people. So in the evening, you just see him on the front of the. There's a stern and a bow. I think this. I don't know which one's which. The front of the ship.
Remember. I'm not a boat person.
I'll Google it later.
The stern is the back.
Okay, then the bow. He's gonna just kind of sit very close to the bow of the ship and just kind of stare off as if he's Leonardo DiCaprio in the Titanic, just kind of king of the world kind of type deal, feeling like he owns this place. And that's how he's gonna spend part of his evening, of course, until he yawns and slowly floats into his shell and falls asleep a couple hours in.
Okay. Kirk, Hydra, what do you intend to do for the evening? The sun is setting. You can see the night sky starting to light up with beautiful stars and all just covering the night sky. It seems beautifully calm. There appears to be no cloud coverage. There's a slight breeze and there's a little bit of a chill, but other than that, it's a beautiful, perfect night that seems to be looming on the horizon.
Hydra's probably chatting with people who seem like they're open to chatting. If anybody has any sort of like cards or anything like that, that they'd be open to playing a game of cards to pass the time.
Yeah.
Kirk's probably finding a little corner of the back of the boat to kind of tuck into and write about what happened in this journal as kind of a log of what's been going on.
Alrighty. The night continues to roll in. Minutes turn into hours, and before you know it, it very quickly gets to the dead of the night. It is pitch black outside with only a few spatterings of starlight as what appears to be a rather thick cloud covering has seemingly stirred up out of nowhere. A mild mist sweeps across the waves, and there's a loud gust of wind that can be heard even in the under deck. Just this whoosh. But this is normal for sea travel. It's not remotely suspicious. Is anybody actively trying to stay awake throughout the evening, or is it?
How many hours has it been since sunset?
This is dead of the night at this point. So if sunset was at about 7, 8, this is maybe 3 to 4 hours later. This is 11, nearly midnight-ish.
Nah, Nordal's dead out.
Yeah. Hydra's probably actively asleep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Kirk's asleep.
Okay, wonderful.
Oh, great.
There's no reason to not be asleep.
And just to confirm, Nortal, you are up on deck. Kirk and Hydra, you are below deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Music
Music
change.
Oh no.
All of you
Oh.
are rather unceremoniously forced awake by what can only be described as probably the loudest, ear-shattering sound you have probably ever heard.
Curiously, short rest-wise, would Nordal...
Yes, this was definitely a short rest.
Okay.
If you want to recover hit points, go right ahead. Spell slots, no one used any.
Oh, goodness, that's freaking huge.
Yeah, there is the loudest, thunderous boom as from... Did I get special effects for that? No, I didn't, because I didn't want to mess around too much and ruin things. Yeah, as... well, let's see where it hits. Okay, so, let me just... I've got a token to mark this stuff. There. So, if I... Yeah. As you'll see, I've just marked an area of the ship, which, yeah, this large lead ball, about the size of 2 fists held together, smashes into the side of the boat. On deck, let me just roll for this poor man who has stood far too close for it. How much is that? Okay, so fudge. This man, who's kind of stood, not seeing much, he is about to call out one thing. You hear him just shout, "Pirate!" as the cannonball hits kind of just below his feet, and he is flung from the side of the boat and into the water. There is no sign of him post that.
Nordal's gonna instantly wake up, grab his great axe, and be prepped for the fight. While he's stomping on the ground to wake up everybody in the boat, that if they haven't already woken up due to the shot.
Looking out, you're actually astounded at how much fog and mist has built up in the time you've been asleep. As what you can see just piercing through is this large, metallic, curved point of a ship. It juts out of the water and curves upwards, like almost as if someone had placed a scimitar on the water's edge, as it cuts through the ocean as a heated knife through butter. On top of this ship, you can make out a variety of different things. The first things you can see, near the front spike, near the blade of this great sword of the ocean, you can see these rather small, green-skinned individuals with sharp teeth and yellow eyes, all chattering and chanting to themselves. Meanwhile, further back, you can make out some much larger creatures. Their skin almost somewhere between green and brown. They have almost what's what I'm looking for? Almost swine-like features. Noses slightly upturned into a sort of snout. Large teeth that seem to curl as tusks, and thick manes of wild, unkempt hair behind them. Behind, towering above all of this, you see a black sail, and on it, a skull with the same swine-like features with two cutlasses crossed behind it.
So, due to Nortal's history, he's quite well aware of what's coming after him. He is in no way scared. He's lived on beaches his entire life. He's seen plenty of these similar types of ships with sails. Excuse me. Going through his territory before. He knows he's ready for this fight that is about to ensue.
Yeah, and you said you are actively preparing for some kind of battle, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Meanwhile, below deck, you've all been woken up. Alongside the loud boom, there is a hole in the wall and ceiling above you, which has been blown off. Hydra, Kirk,
Oh, for the
what
love
are you
of...
doing?
Kirk's a little bit irritated, and assuming Pappy did something to upset him. So he's kind of in a fog trying to get his wits about him. But grabbing his wand and his spellbook.
Okay. And Hydra, how are you reacting to this very impolite manner of being woken up?
It is a little bit alarming noticing the large holes in their ship. That's never a very good sign. He's making sure that they have a few things himself, and initially they's actually going to go back in that direction towards where the balcony is. It looks out, and are they near that Hydra could see? Are they near to any of the islands that they were going to? Or is the mist kind of obscuring that even?
You would know you are not anywhere near an island. Unfortunately, you are about halfway between where you had started and the first island on the schedule. You on a full boat, you know it would take a day of travel still. So, if you want to get out, yeah, you can jump on the rowboat if you think you can survive on a rowboat out in the middle of the ocean for one day. You can just abandon ship, and all will be fine. Maybe. Options exist.
Probably not a thing. They're gonna... I imagine there are other passengers below decks and everything. They're,
Yeah, there's... there was the three other ship hands up on deck. There's the captain of the ship, who is somewhere. There's the two passengers you know. And then there's maybe 10 other passengers who at this point are all looking somewhat panicked. None of these passengers look as if they are prepared or capable of fighting. They look scared.
Okay, well, if everybody seems to be awake and aware that there is a thing happening, Hydra's probably going to get out of that room and head not up the stairs, but to where they can see the stairs.
Okay.
I think upon seeing Hydra go back past the door, Kirk would be like, "What's bloody going on out there?"
Are you calling out to anybody?
To Hydra. He would specifically say, "Hydra, what's bloody going on out there?"
Unclear, but our ship has a few new openings.
While this is all going on, Nordal notices that they're close enough and knows that this is a threat incoming and is going to ready his light crossbow with a bolt and attempt to shoot the first fella on the front of the ship with said crossbow.
All right, wonderful. Before that, Ned, can you just confirm for me, how long are we going on for? Because we're about an hour and a half in now.
Let's see, it is 9:30 right now. We're going for another hour and a half. So if a break is plausible right now, that would be the perfect time.
I was just about to, it's almost like I did it on purpose. So, okay. If you want to roll your crossbow as the first hit, and then when we get back, we'll jump straight into combat.
16.
16 will definitely hit this pathetic little goblin.
And he takes 1 damage.
That won't do much.
No, it won't.
But, hey ho, yeah. You hit this little goblin, stood on the front of this ship, you just shoot, and this goblin gets a little crossbow on his shoulder, and he goes, "Yeah!" And, you know what, before we go, we'll roll initiative now.
Yep.
I think you guys...
All you have to do is... Okay, yeah, you know.
Yeah, I was about to say...
You have to highlight your token and then click initiative on your character sheet.
Yeah.
Can you just add a turn and I'll put in mine?
Yeah.
All you have to do is right. You should be able to click on me and hit add turn. I believe it's a right click.
Yeah, that would probably make sense. Right click. Add turn.
Well.
There we go.
Thank you, because I rolled my initiative off screen, so.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Pirate. And NPCs. So let's roll for them. Pirates. Okay. And NPCs. Go NPCs. Getting a 19. Alrighty, so now is the absolute perfect time for us to take a quick, about 5-minute break.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, drinks, snacks, bathroom, all of that good stuff. And join us when we get back to see if our fledgling sailors can survive a pirate attack.
Alright, while everybody is away, you guys can go ahead. Quick updates on donations. We currently have with bits $21, and I do believe there was a donation that came in earlier that I could not see due to the alert, so I do believe there's a donation on the NTG stream. And that's where we're at today.
Very
and
cool.
I'll see you guys in 5 minutes.
So, before we jump right back in, I think you did a bunch of announcements just before we left. We need to say anything or do anything, or just jump straight back into murdering pirates?
Let's murder some pirates.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
So, the first person on our turn order, who is down below, is Kirk.
Right. So I'm assuming I can see there's now a big old hole in the side of the boat.
Yup.
Well, I'm not going to run on top of the boat. That just seems like a bad idea. So I'm going to run, so that's 5, 10, 15, 20, poke my head in the hole that's already been made for me. And can I see the goblins out there from that hole?
Yeah, you know what? Despite being below, you can see this swarm, because some of them like dangling off the side, like they're leaning off the side of their boat. They're kind of like, some of them got like blades in their mouths. They go, they look bloodthirsty.
Right. Well, I guess I'm just gonna do what I do best, and that's shoot a bolt of fire at one of them.
Okay. One at the front.
Yep, just first one I can hit.
Go for it.
That's gonna be a 16 to hit,
That most definitely hits.
and that's gonna be 1 fire damage.
This is the same goblin that has been shot with like a really, really mediocre crossbow bolt, and now just a pissful amount of fire damage. Like,
In my defense, there's a lot of water that's got to go through.
yeah. Could you describe how you do it? Because you're like just poking your head out of this rather large-looking hole that.
Yeah, I'm.
It's also in like the ceiling above you, so you can like just pop up and there's just this hole in the ship. And how are you casting the spell? What are you doing?
I'm just kind of. Honestly, I'm kind of just like blindly looking, pointing at one of them, and shooting a bolt of fire, and hoping I hit something in the swarm, and then poking my head, poking back into the ship.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Which, given the fact that I'm not looking real closely, that might explain the less than stellar amount of damage I did.
Yeah. You're probably not even looking to see how much damage you did. You just went, I hit it.
Yeah.
Done.
I'm not even probably looking to see if I hit it.
Alrighty. Okay. With that, the NPCs, the older person who was accompanying the obnoxious man, he kind of looks and he goes, "Well, that was certainly something. But if you're really wanting to give him some of what for you, probably best getting up on deck. So that's where I'm heading. You know, where the real fight is." And with that, he starts making his way over to the staircase. He's going to need to use full round of movement to get up onto the main deck, and that's where he's going. His friend, the obnoxious fellow, I look and goes, "Don't feel bad. Pirates, scary things, not good. I am going to go and create a cunning trap in this room. It's not because it's safe and I'm not hiding." And that's where he's going. The NPCs on the ship, well, this fellow, he's running over to a cannon, and he starts going, "Oh, what am I doing? Ah!" And he's going to try and fire the cannon. Yeah, that's a really bad roll. In his panic, he doesn't aim the cannon particularly well and fires it off, missing the ship entirely. And he begins to panic, and he needs to waste time trying to reload. That's going to take him like 2 to 3 rounds of reloading time. And the other fellow, he walks over to the side and he's trying to look for his friend who got blown into it. He goes, "Oh, Jim! Jim! Screaming out after his friend. Alrighty. Pirates. Well. Let's see what they're doing. Okay, what do I need? I need... That's what I need. No. The two large-looking cannons on the front of their ship. They both fire out these long harpoon-looking things, which fire out in straight lines. Attached to these appears to be a very long... that was meant to be black. Damn it. I'll just do another one then. Fine. Or I won't, because Roll20 hates me. Come on. Yeah. Who cares? It's not in line with it. Whatever. They fire out these long harpoon type things. They do pierce into the bottom of the ship, so now I'll just mark where they are. So one is directly next to that one, and the other is about there. Oh no, that's much further up. As you below ship, you see these long spears pierce into the hull and then pull back, appearing to latch into the sides of the boat. Yeah. Goblins. Well, actually, no, those goblins don't do much. These orcs, however, start to clamber up on top of these harpoon cannons and begin crawling their way along these ropes.
It's a hell of a movement speed.
It's not the exact order. I'm just moving them bit by bit. They've got between 30 and 60 feet each. Because they aren't doing anything else. They are just clambering onto these ropes and crawling across. They are slowly making their way towards. And the boat itself... doesn't appear to be moving any further forward yet. It appears as if they're more intent on boarding and taking over the boat than just ramming into it as of yet. Nortal.
How low are these lines into the ship?
They're between 5 and 10 feet. That's how much depth there is between the deck of a ship and the lower deck on the inside.
So if I were to climb on top of it, it would be relatively easy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Nordal's gonna move up this way, 5, 10, 15, 20, and he's going to climb on top of the rope.
Okay. Are you trying to, balance on top? Are you grabbing hold of it?
He's gonna put the rope between his legs and just gotta sit on it.
Okay. Could you... I'm trying to decide now between acrobatics and athletics to maintain a grip on this thing.
I'm gonna kindly ask for athletics due to his strength ability.
Yeah, I can justify that, as in you're holding onto it with pure strength. You're not trying to be nimble. You're not trying to run across it. You're not you're just gripping. So yes, athletics to grip hold of this.
12.
Yep, you've got this. The water itself doesn't appear to be too frantic right now. These are very taut and tight. They're not being moved by wind. They're quite easy to get a good grip on. So
Okay.
yeah, you can sit on this thing and
He's,
wait.
he's gonna take his claw and swipe at the rope.
All right, go for it. Roll to hit.
12.
Sorry, what was that? Did you say 12?
12.
Yeah, 12 will hit that.
And it does a total of 9. It's 9 damage.
Yeah. As you cut through this rope, you cut it. It falls, and that also then means all of these people fall into the water.
Do I need to roll a re-strength to see if I hold on to the rope?
Yes, please.
10.
10? Yeah, you had a solid grip. You're now dangling off the side of the ship, hanging onto this rope.
And I have 5, 10, 15, 20. I've got 5 more movement speed. Would that give me enough to climb up and...
Get yourself back on deck?
maybe not on deck, but holding onto the ledge instead of the rope.
Easily, yeah. If you want to roll me another athletics to grab up.
20.
Easy.
Okay.
In a single solid motion, as you swipe and cut the rope, as it swings down, you just swing your other hand and you grab hold. In fact, your claws dig into the side of the boat as you've got a solid grip now, angling from the boatwood.
And let's
inside.
see, do I have a bonus action? I'm not going to use it. I am good. That is the end of my turn.
Alright. Hydra.
All right. First, Hydra is going to call back to the dude who just bravely is setting up traps in his room, and note that the pirates will be much scarier if they actually reach the ship and head upstairs. How much movement do I need to spend to get upstairs? Is that going to be 25?
Okay, so let's see. You've got 5, 10. To get upstairs is like another 5. So you'll only need 15 to get upstairs. So when you get to the top, you'll have 15 more.
Okay.
Do something else as well.
All right. Okay. I'm going to go up top. So my token is still below deck, so I'm not sure how to get it up top. Okay.
I moved it for her. I don't know how
okay.
I have control of it, but...
Oh, okay.
You've all got control of each other's tokens.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I didn't see that it was over to the side. I got confused. Okay. So let me see. How far does my Eldritch Blast reach?
Off the top of my head, it's either 60 or 120 feet. I can't.
I'm pretty sure it's 120.
I'm like 99%
Yeah.
certain it is.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure. How do I measure the distance there?
You click, you see how on the top left you have a little white bar there? There's a circle with a ruler in it that you click on it, and then you can drag and drop a line.
Okay.
But each square is 5 feet.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. Okay, so I can probably pretty easily hit
The guy at the front,
rope.
no problem.
Well, the rope on the other side, I was thinking, with the Eldritch Blast.
Oh yeah, if you want to try that, please do.
Okay. So I am going to do that, open that up. So that is 13.
Yeah, that'll hit. And if you just click the little the name Eldritch Blast, it'll do damage as well.
6 damage.
Yes, 6 damage is enough to break that rope as well. Please describe how do you do your Eldritch Blast? You firing it from your hand? Do you have a focus? Do you open your mouth and spit it out? Like, describe it as much as you want. You know, color? Does it make a sound? Like anything?
There is. Hydra is kind of wearing this kind of vest cloak thing on the upper body, not really bothering with anything else, but it's useful to have pockets. It is also useful for keeping a necklace tucked down inside. They have a kind of a fairly long chain necklace that they pull out, and at the end of that necklace, it's not even a very good pendant. It's just a chunk of calcite crystal, which is it's a meteorite. It's metal that has this really light. It's almost like metal that's full of holes. That the holes are filled in with very, very, very pale yellow crystals. It's bizarre looking. It's not shaped in any particular way. It's like they just found this chunk of thing and then stuck it on a necklace. And they hold that up in front of them and say a couple words in a very odd and unpleasant spellcasting sort of language. It's not actually a language per se, it's just a couple words. And this almost white, kind of sickly yellowish light comes out through those one of those lighter yellow parts of that crystal and shoots towards that rope and snaps it when it hits.
I like it. Cool. Yeah, as you do that, this bolt just flies across. It pierces straight through the rope, and you hear more of these orcs shriek as they plummet into the water. You can very quickly see their heads pop up, and they look as if they're about to start swimming towards the boat. But definitely a great start. You've stopped them being able to get straight up onto deck. So fantastic start, everybody. Kirk.
All right. Kirk's gonna take the dash action to get to the top of the deck.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna take him over here. But while he's passing the older guy, he's gonna say, so which god of it whose portfolio includes throwing such shade? And that's basically going to be Kirk's turn.
Yeah. Okay. So, a few things for the NPCs to describe what was going on. So, Hydra, when you shouted something at the obnoxious pirate-looking fellow, his response to you when you did that, he kind of just gave a chuckle, and you heard some very loud mechanical clicks, you know, like the sound of something loading from under deck from him. Although it wasn't just a single one, it sounded as if two very large contraptions were activated for him. Kirk, as you run past the older guy and you go, well, what kind of god is that front? He'll chuckle and go, well, perhaps I'll tell you more about the good lights of the Lard, providing we don't die.
You worship lard.
Lard. Lard! Can you not understand my my delightfully folkish accent? Okay, so then things they're actually doing. he's staying down there. Another NPC who you might have heard, you probably would have just heard Pappy going, "Ah! What's going on?" Just making sounds, and he doesn't appear to be doing much.
Fair enough.
Okay, so older fellow, he is going to cross and make his way over to where the hole is on the boat, and he kind of looks and goes, "Well, I think this is probably going to get in the way a wee bit." And he reaches down and puts his hands on. Kirk, you would immediately recognize the spell because it is basically the exact same thing you did before, fixing Pappy's spoon. As he touches the hole in the side of the boat, and it slowly begins to repair itself. The guy next to him, working the cannon, he opens the back of the cannon, a bunch of burnt up gunpowder falls out, and he spends his round slowly loading up the cannon and it's a whole thing. And the other fellow, he's kind of stood there going, "Oh, I think Jim's dead. Not Jim. He's my best friend. I have no other defining characteristics aside from really liking Jim." And the captain of the boat, he's desperately trying to steer it, and he's kind of looking, he's seeing this opposing ship, and he looks like he's actively trying to make a decision in his mind. Do we turn and try and sail away, or do we try and turn towards them? Smart choice, Captain. And by smart choice, I mean really, really, really stupid choice.
Oh, goody.
Okay. For me to actually fiddle around with it is a bit much, because it's having to alter stuff on the map layer and token layer. But basically, he starts to turn the ship towards them. So, in maybe another round, I'll start moving that around, but he starts turning as if to face them, and the boat is going to end up facing... I'm on the wrong thing, hang on. It's going to end up facing down in this direction, but obviously it's going to take time for that to happen.
And then he's going to try to go down this way.
Yup.
Oh, yay.
That is his plan. Okay. The pirates themselves. Well, unfortunately for them, the people who are manning the harpoon guns are all overboard. So, it's now the job of the secondary squadron to start trying to do stuff to do with that. So they all rush over, and they have to mess around with that kind of stuff. The goblins, they're upset because they haven't gotten a chance to get any closer. And the swimming, yep, they are just going to start swimmity, swimming. So how far can they swim? They can get to there. Nope, wrong thing. So, moving in a straight line. No, the boat isn't moving. I didn't want to select the boat. Ah! No, that's selecting.
If only he's trying so hard.
I like that orc moved forward about 2 feet for a minute there.
Yeah, I thought was a really clever idea of going, oh hey, I can grab them all and move them all forward 30 feet.
If
But
only
nope.
you didn't have 100 other tokens on the board, you know?
Yeah, if only the boat itself wasn't a token and movable. It's fine. So they're just swimming forward. That's pretty much all they can do. Nortal, you're hanging off the side of a boat.
Do we need to roll anything to see what kind of hit points these characters may have, or what they kind of look like?
what do you think you could justify to have a knowledge about, either this species or this type of person? Like,
when I DM, I personally make my players roll an Arcana to know something of that, like some kind of magical aura that makes you know how much hit points these players have. But you could also roll a medicine, a perception, maybe even a survival.
Okay. A basic thing you notice is, that goblin at the front, he's taken 2 very, very weak, pathetic hits. He doesn't look so good from these 2 very minor hits.
Okay.
And the orcs don't look much stronger than any of the goblins. You mentioned before, you know what pirates are, you've seen them. You could probably very easily make the assumption, if the crew has to be that large, they are relying purely on their numbers over their individual strengths.
Okay. Nordal is gonna hop up on the deck then, and move 15 feet over this way to get a clear vision shot, and he is going to shoot the crossbow at this fella swimming in the water.
Alrighty, go for it.
I'm gonna use the purple dice, and that will be a 9.
Okay. With them being in the water, they do not get their dex bonuses, because, it's hard to dodge stuff when you're swimming.
Mm-hmm.
So I just need to check if that would hit him. I don't know how much his dex bonus comes into account. Ugh, come on, you stupid book. Stop taking so long to scroll!
Control F, Control F.
Okay. No.
Damn.
Unfortunately. You're taking a shot into the water. It gets close, but it just lands like a few feet in front of him. You couldn't quite angle it correctly.
Suppose Nordal is just gonna
Crumble, crumble. Crumble. Ah,
throws his hands up in anger. And he ends his turn.
Okay. And Hydra?
Let me try. And Hydra is going to... Well, I mean, I'm just not saying Eldritch Blast because I was trying to get to that side, but everybody knows that Warlock's Eldritch Blast. That's a 13.
Okay.
Does 13 hit?
Yes, 13 does.
Okay.
And that...
Does 1 damage.
Well, you rolled it twice there. If you're using
okay.
You actually got 6 damage.
Well, I think the 6 that was last time. So her roll this time is actually an 8.
Okay.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Yeah, so that probably didn't hit.
No, the 8 does not hit. As you fire in, and pretty much in the exact same spot the crossbow bolt was. It's actually quite amusing. This little bolt hits and creates a small ripple in the water, and you go, I got this. Boom! It creates a bigger ripple in the water.
We're just,
You're right,
Go ahead.
You're right, that's much harder than it looks.
We're just competing to make the biggest ripple in the water at this point.
How long before Norton goes, I can do the biggest ripple, and cannonballs
It just jumps in.
Kirk. Back down to you.
Alright, well, I don't think I'm necessarily interested in joining the biggest ripple competition, but I am going to get up on the side of the boat to join the others. And I think I'm going to ready an action where the first one who starts climbing up the side of the ship, I'm going to cast Infestation.
Ooh. That's gross.
Fun.
Okay, NPCs. Now, let me just check the rules I made for cannons is 8. Nope, he is still not ready to refire that cannon. Cannons are big, hefty things, so he's still faffing around going, oh no! The other fellow, he is going to get over his mourning of his friend Jim. He goes, Jim wouldn't like it. And he rushes over to the side of a boat and starts looking around, and he pulls out this rather long-looking thing. Nortal, it kind of looks like a crossbow, except instead of being small and stumpy and having a bow, it appears to be a long, cylindrical metal barrel. As he lifts it up and brings it to his eye, and he aims it down, and he's going to try and pick off one of these orcs. A 9. He also misses, but a loud boom fires just from this musky-looking rifle as he too fires into the water. These guys aren't so great. The other fellow, he's repaired the side of a ship, so I can delete that one. And that one. He is also going to step on the front line. He pulls out his shield and his big, hefty mace, and he goes, "Hey, it certainly looks like we've got ourselves ready for if any of these bastards try to climb on up." And he is going to ready an action to wallop somebody on the head, should they try and clamber up the side. Speaking of people clambering, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes. These first two can just get to the side of the boat, and they are going to start attempting to climb up. Yup, and yup. They are currently clambering up the side of the boat. Do you want to cast Infestation?
I sure would. On the one by Hydra.
Okay, go for it.
Alright, so he actually makes a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. He rolled a 5.
Alrighty.
So, I doubt even with his pluses he's going to make the save.
Nope. So he takes 3 poison damage, but he also is forced to move 5 feet in a random direction, which I'm hoping will cause him to have to let go of the ship.
Okay, let's... yeah, he is shifted 5 feet backwards as he lets go of the side of the boat and falls back. He's not looking hot. He's looking a little... In fact, his skin turns slightly more green from the deep brownish color it was. It's a brownish green, but it becomes more green as he looks very ill and starts and loses his grip and kind of just floats back in the water. All the others...
And Kirk will yell, "Take that, you flea-bitten mongrel."
The others just keep moving forward a little bit more as they keep swimming. Okay, it has been 2 rounds for these people with the harpoon cannons, so they can reload and fire again. A 2 and a 1. Okay, well that nat 1. They're hitting one of their comrades in the water.
Yes.
So this fellow here is being skewered with a harpoon. Let me check the damage I stated on that. Okay, so... Yikes. This fellow, harpoon, flies in, pierces him through the stomach, and when it spreads out and pulls back, his not-so-living corpse gets yanked back, and is now actually blocking that cannon, because they try and retract to go taut. He doesn't weigh very much, he just gets wound all the way back in. That cannon is now essentially out of commission. The
Nice.
tomb, they fire it too high, it just flies straight over, all the rope flies, and there's just a harpoon that flies over the top of the ship, just goes over there. It flies past all of you, but nowhere near close to scare you. Nortal.
Alrighty, Nordal in his gloriousness and all his rage and aggression says,
You will not board my boat!
and shoots another crossbow at the gentleman. This one being an 11 at the guy that's chilling in the water here.
Yep, 11 will hit.
Let me scroll back up. Crossbow, 1d8. 7.
Oh yeah, that is a beautiful, solid hit. He's kind of floating, looking very sickly. His mouth kind of slightly aghast as he's going, oh. As he opens it to dry heave, you can skewer him right through the mouth, and his head just sinks below the water's surface, and no bubbles come up.
Oh, guess I'm not getting that bolt back.
Hydra.
All right. I am going to, I believe, then start trying to pick off the next closest ones. So the one, I don't know how to make it do the thing, but the one on the
Left or right of the screen?
the right of the screen, the furthest, yeah, that one.
Yep.
Okay. And just gonna go ahead and blast again.
23, that is a solid blow.
All right.
You hit him real good. And a 5,
Yes.
perfect. As he's swimming across, you can just crack him straight in the back as he's doing a front crawl, and you go pew. It hits him in the back. He kind of lets out this as his body is pushed below the water. And no bubbles. He doesn't resurface anytime soon. Kirk.
Well, I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'll just ready up another infestation if they try and climb up on the boat.
Alrighty. Good thinking. Okay, NPCs. Well, the cannon is now ready to fire again. So, what he does is he prepares it, takes aim, and he is going to try and hit right in the middle of all these goblins. Let me just check the splash damage for a regular cannon. Should be on there. What have I... Should have marked that. I knew I wrote it down somewhere, but now I'm being silly. That's why, it's because it's in ammo, not firearms. I'm looking in the wrong thing. Silly me. Yeah, there you go. So, if I just give that lovely aura and click that. That is where he is aiming to hit. 11. No. The goblins have got a higher AC than that. So, as he fires, how far off does it go? He hits the front of the ship. He can't quite get the trajectory right on it, but he blows a hole in the front of their ship, which is nice.
Slightly less pointy now.
Yeah, it's more. The point is slightly inverse now. It's gone concave. So there's that, and the other fellow, he is reloading his rifle. Alright, pirates, are they going to keep trying? Yeah, so he's going to get up onto the side. Do you want to cast Infestation on this fellow?
I would love to.
Go right ahead. So he has a Constitution save. That is a 14 on the dice.
That'll beat it.
Okay. Is there consequence?
Nope.
Even? Nope. So he starts clambering up. He'll be able to get up on top next round. That fellow gets himself to the side. He gets himself to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nearly there. Nearly there. Not quite. Not quite. And the pirates are starting to get a little bit frustrated. And from the back of the ship, you can see one which is slightly larger than all the others. And his skin is more grey than green. And he seems to call something out in a very guttural tone as he points forward, urging the ship to slowly lurch its way closer. Although, however, the point is no longer there. Their front of the ship is now, if I just mark it with that, the front of their ship is now that black line there. So they're still about 20 or so feet away from being able to ram you.
Has our ship started turning yet?
Yes, well done for reminding me. Okay, now I'm trying to figure out how to make this work. This is not going to be easy dealing with a map player. Where's the rotatey thing? Can't find it. That's why I can't find it, because it's there in a silly place. Now, if I just maneuver it, then if I select you lot, then move that. And you should all be like that. Ha ha ha! I did it! I'm so clever. So, Nortal.
Let's see. So these two have boarded the ship correctly.
They are clambering up the side.
Would they be hittable with a great axe?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, cool. So as a bonus action, Nortal is going to use, what's it called? He's going to imbue his weapon with his Rite of the Storm, which gives him an extra 1d4 damage to the weapon that he chooses as his imbued weapon, and it is lightning damage. He's going to choose his Great Axe, but that also means he takes a hit of 1 HP, and his maximum HP drops by that same point as well. Okay. So he is now 10 for 10. And he is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, so 20 feet over to this gentleman clambering on the side, and he is going to swing his mightily big great axe at him. for 24.
Most definitely a hit.
So that's let's see, 1d12 plus 5 plus the added 1, 4. So that's a 9? Yeah, 9. Well, that's 9 plus 5, so 14. 17 points of damage. I might have sliced him in half.
I was about to say, please describe how you end this person's life.
He tries to clamber up on the side of the boat there, and as he reaches forward, I simply slice down, and his arm falls in half, and then the axe just continues on through his head and his other arm, and you see his body and head fall into the water, and both of his arms are just still attached to the side of the boat like this, and so you see no body with 2 hands on the side of the boat like that.
I love it.
And that will be the end of Norval's turn.
Okay. Hydra.
I'm going to use up, I believe it would take my entire movement, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, get over there, and because this seems to be another place where the orcs are headed, and I've noticed that Nordal and I are the only ones who seem to have any sort of range attacks, so I'm going to be trying to shoot at the one to my left there as he's climbing up. I'm going to shoot down towards them.
Okay.
And
that is most definitely a hit there with a 20.
Alright, and that is only 2 damage.
As you blast down, you manage to clock him in the shoulder. It knocks an arm off, but he grabs himself and he's continuing up. He is refusing to go down. Kirk. There are 2 orcs clambering up the side of the boat, 4 more in the water, and a big scary metal ship getting closer and closer and closer.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I'm not really quite thrilled about this turn of events here. I'm going to firebolt this gentleman right here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a natural 1, so
Ooh.
I'm not going to.
Okay.
A big ol' steam.
One thing I personally like to do, I like to greatly reward criticals, like nat 20s, but I also like to punish nat 1s. So,
I should have picked a different namesake.
just realized that. So, unfortunately, as you try to, I'm assuming, firebolt, as you aim and do that, you throw your hand a little too vigorously, and you may or may not have just started a small fire on the boat at your feet. Nothing immediately is going to come of that, but unless it is put out, your ship and maybe yourself is on fire.
I point at the older gentleman and say, pretty sure he did it, and then I'm going to run back over here.
Do you want to make a deception?
Sure. Oh, that's only a 10.
Okay. If anybody wants to try and insight against that lie, they may. Or if you're too distracted by the battle, you're just going to shrug it off. That's everyone's individual choice. Alrighty. NPCs. He's back to loading the cannon. This fellow has just reloaded his rifle, and he fires. That hits, and only 1 damage. You're not very good. As he gets a grazing shot. The older-looking fellow, he looks at the fire and looks at the tiefling who walks away. I'm fairly certain that and he uses his entire round to stomp out the fire. Because fire and wooden boats doesn't work so well together. Okay, pirates. Gonna start clambering up.
Is the dude below deck doing anything?
He has his own elaborate plan.
Right.
He's not a scared coward. It's a trap.
A helpful plan.
It's a really good plan.
Just nobody's going. None of the orcs are going in through the holes in the boat.
Well, the hole got fixed, and then you cut off their access. So.
Oh, okay. I thought there were a couple holes in the bottom. So.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, that's helpful. That's reassuring.
I mean, you disabled one of their cannons. Well, they disabled one of their cannons. Okay, so there's a whole swarm of them clambering on up. This fellow is going to make it onto the actual boat now. So, I'll mark him so you can see that he is now actually up on the side, and as is this fellow. Those two have made it up onto the actual boat. The other four, they'll only get their next turn. The two which are up on the side of the boat, they both pull out these long, curved swords. One of them is going to swing at Hydra, and the other is going to swing at the older-looking fellow. So the one swinging at Hydra, yikes, 15.
Just beat my armor class.
Okay, and you take 5 damage.
Okay.
Oh,
How are you looking?
That's heavy.
That took a half my health, so that was not the most pleasant.
And the other person, no, that's a terrible roll, a 10, as he swings at the older-looking fellow, who just glances off the shield and glares him down, just staring at him like, And Nortal.
Let's see how far he can move. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm coming. I did not like seeing my friend get hit. I would assume that's close enough to on the boat.
Yeah.
And close enough to hit that fella. And...
You no touch my snake!
And that'd be an 11.
Now that these guys are standing, an 11 does not hit.
11 does not hit. Do I have any advantage because it's my imbued weapon? Let me double check. Oh, great. I suck.
You want him as
Well, I swing and miss. I just hope my taunting... Well...
A great big tortoise has run at this guy. I think he's now got a new priority of a target.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe I can roll an intimidation. As I say that. Well, that's an 8, not a 20. That'd be an 8.
He has a 15 on his... I don't even know exactly what would be the counter to intimidate. Like, I guess insight, maybe. But
maybe just he is...
We'll just say it's a wisdom save. He kind of looks at you like... He's not super scared, mainly because you run at him and you couldn't even hit him. He kind of laughs at you at this.
Okay.
Silly turtle.
And shell defense is an action, so I can't even do that. So that's the end of Normal's turn.
Alrighty, Hydra. You just got sliced in the... Well, I don't know. I don't know snake anatomy. You know, like the knee, I guess. The joint that bends.
Yeah, I just got sliced in the snake. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So... Do I have a disadvantage casting Eldritch Blast from where I'm at that guy, or is that just casting? Is that just firing things like crossbows?
I don't think you do.
Yeah, I don't think magic does.
Whatever, ignore that.
Okay, I thought so. So okay, I'm aiming at the one who just hit me. That is a 23.
Yeah. That's a solid hit. Since he's so close, is there anything you'd like to specifically do? Would you like to like try and put your hand against him and like, or are you just blasting still?
Hydra was honestly kind of freaked out enough and wanted to make sure it hit bad enough. The Hydra just kind of, when they was holding out the thing, they kind of pushed it basically almost right against the orc. So, they cast that like right against the orc, and it's 4 force damage, so it's not like
face or chest?
around, probably just chest areas. Hydra's not that tall.
As you do that, you reach out, you essentially blow a hole in him. You see the blast fly out the other side, and he falls into the water.
Okay.
Are you doing anything else? Are you moving? Are you...
Cough,
Probably
get
not.
out of there.
Probably not, because there is another orc like right there.
Oh yeah, you can't disengage. Smart move.
Kirk.
Okay, so, at least I can take solace in the fact that I'm braver than the, individual below deck. I am gonna go over here and, point my wand at the orc on deck and try another firebolt.
Okay.
Oh, for the love of Pete. That's only a 10.
That will not
Yeah.
hit. You kind of fire it. It looks like, and it just goes over his shoulder and goes.
Right, I meant to do that. Totally intentional.
Okay. NPCs. This fellow, he drops his rifle because he sees that everyone's getting close, and he pulls out a short sword and gets ready for close combat. This fellow abandons the cannon, takes a few steps back, does the same, draws out a short sword like, alright. And slightly older guy, where the orc who tried to hit him, he just holds his shield and he pushes, like, he gets it in position and he just tries to shove the orc back. That'll do it. And with that, he just shunts and forces the orc back into the water. The orc falls the 10 feet from the side of the boat, hits the water with such force, he does not appear to get back up. More pirates. Okay, so clambers up, they're both on the boat, clambers up, is on the boat, and the rest of them, their boat pushes a little bit further in to a point where can I select just no, I can't get that silly little line. No. Oh, pardon me. Yeah, basically they have shoved into the side of the wooden boat. Theirs is large, it's metal. They have pushed a hole into the boat as they've just rammed into the side. There's now quite a large hole as they have inserted their boat into the side of yours. And all those goblins look as if they're about ready to start rushing forward. The two orcs that are there, they're both... Well, one is going to try and whack at Nortal. One is going to whack at older guy. So Nortal, what guy whacks at you? 16.
Misses.
And to whack the other guy, 16 again, also misses. That is the pirates done. Nortal,
He's
what do you
gonna
do?
slip up behind this gentleman here and slice him from the back, and he hits with a 24.
That is most definitely a hit.
13 plus 4, 17.
How would you like to
He's-
make this person stop being alive?
He's just he's just gonna take this big old grizzly axe he's got and slice this guy, and you're just gonna see him split in half like this until he hits the deck.
Yeah, just
Yep.
what was once one orc is now 2 halves of an orc.
And then he is going to. That was 5 feet, so 5 feet here, 5 feet here, and that'll be the end of that turn.
Alrighty. Hydra.
Well, there are 2 orcs on the boat, but there are also a lot of goblins probably about to head toward the boat. So, Hydra's going to start Eldritch Blasting towards that goblin right in the front there. Trying to maybe pick off.
Yeah, guy at the front, go for it.
Ooh, that's a
Please.
crit.
Yep, I got a critical hit there. 26 total. It's a natural 20.
Okay.
And that did 7 damage.
Okay. Well, I mentioned before, I like to reward crits. This goblin is the one who has also been hit before with a firebolt and a crossbow. He wasn't looking so good. As you take aim and you fire, your bolt, your Eldritch Blast, flies straight through the chest of this fellow, and it also pierces the one behind, taking both of them out. So you just
Very
got
cool.
2 for 1.
Nice.
And you see Nordal just kind of smirk his snapper like, damn.
Alrighty.
Proofs of snake.
Kirk.
I can be just as cool. I mean, watch this. And he's gonna try and shoot one of these this guy who's over here.
Mm-hmm.
And because he said watch this, he got a 10.
More firebolts. Just.
Yep. Listen, I'm much more of a utility wizard.
Yeah, that's fine. Hey, it's hard to aim. You know, there's a boat in your boat. Everything's been shunted around.
Right, yeah, no, it's stuff, there's water and like air and things. It's all very difficult.
Oh, definitely. Okay. NPCs. This fellow, he's gonna run and he's gonna start going, "Oh, get away from me! Get off my boat!" And older guy, he swings his mace, clocks this orc round the side of the head, and with enough force to throw him off the boat. Because that's that done. This guy, he's a little uncertain what to do because he's like, "Oh, I can't quite get over there. I am going to wait, and I'm gonna just play it safe and be cool." Alrighty. Oh wait, I didn't roll for the guy over there. No, he missed his attack. Never mind. Pirates. Okay, so these 2 orcs, they maneuver themselves around this fellow.
That's unfortunate.
Yep, that's 2 hits. And you now have a dead ship hand. As they just slash at him and he falls on the floor, and it's not a very pretty sight. And they turn and start looking towards the rest of you. The goblins. What they start to do is probably quite alarming. You see each goblin, now that they seem to have impaled your boat, each goblin grabs out a small flask, which appears to have a rag inside of it. And they start rushing towards your boat. No, I'm not trying to move the boat. I want to move the goblins on the boat. It's quite good how they're all running in a nice single file, actually. But each one of them is wielding a flask with what appears to have like a dark, black-looking fluid inside of it. As they get a little bit closer still. They're nearly there. Nortal.
He's gonna hop up on the boat here, right in front of this fella here, and I'm assuming these guys are planning on throwing their. What do I do here? What do I do here? Do I kill him or not? I'm gonna taunt them into throwing whatever is in their hand at me by simply going, "Oh, I bet you can't hit me." And as an action, he uses shell defense, tossing himself in a shell. And that, I do believe, gives him a +4 to his AC. Yep. So now he has a 21 AC and has taunted them to throw the flaming flasks at him.
Okay. Wonderful. Alright, Hydra. How do you feel about these goblins with very flammable looking things rushing towards the boat?
Not so good. Actually going to go ahead and Nordal has positioned himself at the front of that line.
Yep.
And there are 2 orcs on the boat, but there are also some other people on the boat. Hydra's actually going to start trying to pick off the goblins at the back of the line.
Clever.
Oh.
Right, go for it.
Alright. That's a 12.
Yes, that will hit a goblin.
Alright, and that does 3 damage.
That is the perfect amount you need. Are you going for the very back of the line?
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting thing. As you fire at this goblin who's wielding this flask, you hit him, he falls over, and the flask hits the floor and smashes. As it does so, a small flame erupts, filling a 10-foot by 10-foot space.
Small flame, he said.
It's small, it's... So, by doing that, you set 2 of his goblin friends on fire.
Hooray!
They're still kicking, but they're very much on fire and rushing towards you with flammable flasks. You might have made things worse.
Are they taking damage? Do they seem to be at all?
Oh, they are taking damage. They are on fire and not looking so good. But they are still alive, just.
I might know where to start aiming next time, then.
Yeah. Kirk.
I've never felt more sure about what I need to do in my entire life. This one right here is gonna get a firebolt.
Yes.
And that's gonna be a 20.
That is most definitely a hit.
And that is 7 damage.
Okay, so that goblin down. Fire explodes out from him. The 2 goblins behind who were hit before also fall to the fire The two in front, although one of them is going to get secondary. No, he's still okay. The 4 goblins in front are still kicking, but the 2 now at the back are currently on fire. As
Excellent.
They continue to rush forward.
And is there
and,
now?
Oh, go ahead.
Is there now like 60 feet of their boat that's on fire?
Oh yeah, the entire front of their boat is on fire.
Very nice.
And then, in possibly the bravest thing I've done so far, I'm going to run over here.
Amusingly, almost in the exact opposite of Kirk's moment of bravery, the older fellow kind of looks at this line of fire goblins and goes, he just turns to all of you and he goes, well, it's been nice getting to know all of you, but I quite like being alive, and this ship ain't lasting. Hope you figure out a way off. And he is going to use the dash action to run downstairs. The other NPC who's still alive, he's like, oh, what do I do? Ah! And he runs forward to try and help Nortal at the front. It wasn't his smartest choice. The 4 remaining goblins, who are not dead, but 2 of which are on fire, move onto the ship, basically surrounding Mr. Nortal there.
Bring it.
And okay, if I just drop that there, let me figure out how big this aura is going to... Well, it would actually be there, and it would have that much fire, and let's do that. Yeah, they collectively all smash their flasks on the floor, setting that much of the boat on fire. It's a lot. Nortal. Let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yikes. Let's hope they roll low. 2, 3. So that's 5, 6, 8 damage from fire. The other NPC, he's dead. He just sets on fire and goes, ah!
I'm looking a wee bit rough.
However, they killed their own orc friend who was in the blast. And
Did they all die?
Oh yeah, all the goblins are dead. This was
Okay.
So the only one left is this guy over in the corner.
yeah, but the boat is on fire. Like, irrevocably on fire. Blazing, burning, the fire is spreading. Basically, there's very little your boat can do right now, and you know there's still orcs on their ship. Nortal.
Hold on here. Let's see. I count as perhaps. I can't take the X. Okay, so I have one of 2 options here. So the ship that is, or not the ship, the tugboat, the sailboat that's in this corner, would be just over this edge, right?
Yeah, in the back corner of this ship.
I don't have enough.
And you know it is actually sticking out from the side on a small balcony.
Yeah. what can I do if I go this way? I can just go 30 feet onto the ship that's not on fire. Well, this ship's on fire too.
Yes. This front part is on fire. I should actually extend that outwards really.
Son of a biscuit.
If you use the dash action, you can go 60 feet.
I've got to use a bonus action to get out of my shell. I have 0 movement right now.
It only takes a bonus action to get out?
Yeah.
That
Then
still
you can
gives
use
you
your action to run.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna use a bonus action to hop up out of my shell, and then use the dash with my 30 feet, and run straight up across this ship, and jump over the edge into the little safety boat, I guess, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
And as Nordal ran across this entire boat, he said, you ever see the video with the gecko running away from the snakes on on what's that video? It's Planet Earth or something. You just see him running. He's gone. He said, nope, I'm out of here. And he is now in the boat over here.
Yeah, I'll move the boat over actually. Hang on. That's where it would be. So you've jumped into this boat. I'll explain what you see in a moment. Hydra and Kirk, what's your plan?
At this point, half our boat is on fire, and a good little percent of their boat is on fire, and a larger percent of their boat is orc. So probably going over to following Nordal's lead there and heading onto that.
Also jumping down into said boat. Smart choices. Kirk.
Well, I've not been the best maker of good choices so far, but running does seem like the correct thing to do, so I'm also going to try and jump over onto the boat.
Yeah, that is absolutely fine. How I described this previously, you jump in the boat, and you can see inside. You see Pathy, who's stood there. He just knows there's a fire going on, and you see the 2 other people you met before kind of rushing towards the boat. And with the 3 of you in, this thing looks full. And the loud, obnoxious guy kind of looks and he goes, well, fair is fair. Perhaps we'll find another way. May we see you again, friends. And with that, he kicks the rowboat off of its little balcony to drop into the water. As the flame begins to spread across the ship, Pathy looks down at you and he stands up straight and gives like a little salute as the boat itself sails a small distance away. I'm assuming you guys start rowing as you notice the entire boat slowly engulfs it. I say slowly. Very, very quickly, almost as if there was some very flammable liquids upon it, burst up into flames as you slowly begin to row away. And I think that is the perfect place to end our first session of Adventure Ahoy and or Pirate Queens.
That is definitely a great place to end this. Timed it perfectly, by the way. Don't ever set my turtle on fire again.
I didn't. The goblins did.
I was sure my shell was going to save me. I should have taken half damage, dang it.
I mean, if you want... Yeah, technically half damage, so that's fine. You apply half damage. That was my fault for not taking that into account.
Row your boat gently down the stream.
Yeah, Hydra does comment as they're heading away. Why was there one rowboat? It seems like terrible planning.
Because it's the Titanic and we didn't plan accordingly.
Why was the loud gentleman so oddly out of character and honorable?
I think that he was honorable the whole time, just very strange. Like, I think he was actually setting a trap below decks, given the sounds.
Right.
All right. Well, ladies, gentlemen, all other else people, that is the end of Adventures Ahoy Session 1. Join us. I do believe it is January 12th is the tentative date for Session 2 right now. We will be adding another player in Mets Girl who donated a 2K bits earlier. Thank you very much for that, by the way. Outside of a donation that I could not see because of the alert issues earlier in the stream, we are at least up to $21 for today's charity, so that is wonderful, wonderful. When you join us in January, this whole overlay thingy will be a lot more quote-unquote professional looking. We have some things we have to tweak and make better. I want to thank Nat, Kit, and Bard for joining us this evening, or I suppose for Bard, maybe early morning.
Yeah. That's fine.
And are there any parting words from any of you three before we end the session?
The only ones I have is obviously follow all of these lovely people on Twitter and various other places of social media. They have been there at the bottom. And just... there is a non-toxic gaming Discord channel you should consider joining if you find that. It's how we organize this good stuff.
Eesh. Terrible. I'm doing things.
There's that thing as well to consider looking at. Lovely, lovely viewers. I have no other things about myself to say. Does anyone have anything about themselves? As final words?
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for all the donations to the Trevor Project, which is a fantastic charity. And I'm excited to get back into it next month.
You actually reminded me to let everybody know next month's charity, which was chosen by that guy. I reach up on the overlay, but he's actually sitting that way on my screen. Will be OAR, which is Autism Awareness. No, it's not. It's a Organization of Autism Research. That's what it is. That is the charity we will be representing in January. Look forward to seeing a bunch of people donating for that as well. And then I know this is a little bit later down the road, but February will be her mix, whichever charity she chooses, and then March will be that guy, Nat. So look forward to both of their choices as well, and I hope to see you guys next month, and have a good evening and or morning for some of you.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you guys for playing with me.
All right, all. Have a good night.
All right, wonderful.
You too.
Click the button and take us off stream then.